Welcome to a very vintage morning with Nora. Today is a special day. It is the first day in 18 months that my kids are not sitting in my dining room. My kids are back in school. I surprised pandemic homeschooled for the last year, which wasn't a stretch because I am a middle school science teacher from way back when. However, I love, absolutely love, adore, deeply respect, and need teachers. I am thrilled with the volume of interesting classes that they have. I am so excited for both of them in their new school. That is not my dining room next to the bar. No, really, next to the bar. Literally, it was the only place the desks fit in the house. Plus, it was too funny not to do. They now get to tell their grandchildren that during the pandemic, they went to school in a bar. You know how stories grow with age. Anyway, so too funny not to do. All right, everyone, grab your morning beverage of choice. For me, it is coffee. So you can have some coffee or tea or whatever it is that you're doing. And I'm going to sort my day and do some sewing research. Today, the plan will be, where's my notes? Today, the plan is call my doctor about my foot and make sure that the surgery that we're thinking about is actually the correct one. I just have a few questions. I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. I need to clean something, anything in this house. My house is an absolute disaster. This year has torn apart my house and it is absolutely unacceptable. And it is entirely too big to do in one big bite, so I got to do corner by corner. Lunch. I don't have children. I don't have to do weird food. I'm going to have a baked potato and a salad. And I'm going to sew, but first, I have been feeling like I need a little more background on the specifics for the time periods that I'm sewing in. I can pick up a drafting book that is modern and today, but I don't feel like it is specifically helping what it is that I'm trying to do. I want to actually read the introductions and the meaning behind all of the aesthetic qualities for the time periods that I'm sewing for. So today we have a very special book. I am going to be starting, and I'm actually going to move my coffee, move that away from the exceptionally old book. My sewing books range from about 1923 through the 1960s. I'm going to start with the absolute oldest one and go from there. The first book that I am going to deal with is the Women's Institute of Domestic Arts and Sciences from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Dress Construction and Finishing, number 413. To the student. The method of constructing a garment, assembling its pieces, and making its foundation seams varies with style changes, but never are the changes so great that dressmaking knowledge such as given in this instruction book will not completely suffice. To make a success of creating garments, one should master all rules of construction and learn how to do all manner of finishing. Then fashion effects may be easily and quickly reproduced, and they will always evidence the skill which every dressmaker desires to possess. MVP. The copyright is 1923 by International Education Publishing Company. Copyright in Great Britain, all rights reserved, printed in the United States. Dress construction and finishing. Understanding dress details. Number 1. The skill that you have acquired up to this time in applying the needle, in operating the sewing machine, and in doing the numerous things included in garment construction will be means of shortening for you many of the steps in dressmaking. For example, you may find it possible in some instances to omit pinning or basting and thus hasten the work of garment construction. Often, labor or time-saving methods may be employed with satisfactory results after you become accustomed to handling materials and are acquainted with the precautions necessary in the use of certain fabrics and the application of construction principles. However, do not neglect or skim over any work, Rather, strive to have your sewing skill responsible for quicker and more satisfactory results. Number 2. To know the principles of garment construction as well as the rules for sewing is important because of their value as time savers, but chiefly because of their fitness for a purpose, that is, their qualifications for use with certain fabrics or designs. For instance, you should know that facings should be inconspicuous unless used for ornament, that a hem should be a width that corresponds with the dress or should be made so as to be very inconspicuous. Also, you should know that tucks or shirrings should be used first for their line value, and secondly, for ornament. It is equally important to realize that slanting lines are rarely in harmony with round and round lines. Thus, in designing a dress, you should give sufficient attention to the details when tucks or shirrings or plaits are planned for. They may be made in the right position and of a size that will balance with other lines and details. Number 3. The purpose of this section is to give instruction in the making of tucks, pleats, shirrings, facings, and many other details which both constitute actual parts of a garment and have decorative value as well. These details and construction principles are purposefully separated from specific garments so that you may learn to make them independently and therefore be able to apply them where you desire. To use such features successfully, practice in making them first necessary. Then the appropriate use of them may be made. This is actually very exciting to me because when we are talking about what I've been doing, a lot of this has been very assuming that I already know what I'm doing and how to do everything that they're talking about here. And I would like to do them better. So this is exactly what I need. Number 4, to make dresses that are beautiful, that express individuality and fitness for their purpose, you must be sufficiently interested both in the work and in the result to have the dress a success in every way. Could not agree more. With the right interest, a garment will be planned, cut, and assembled without hesitation and will not take on a homemade look, so often evident when indecision and delay enter into its construction. I agree. Number 5. To build a house, a person must have first a plot and a plan, then materials and tools, and finally patience. So to make a dress, you must first have a purpose, next a design, and the materials of a color and texture to correspond with the design, to harmonize with the individual and to be appropriate for the need. And finally, you must take heed of all the little things that make for success in dressmaking. One of the factors so often overlooked is the sewing machine. Everyone should have enough respect for cloth, no matter how cheap it is, to put the sewing machine in shape to make good stitches. Pulled, puckered stitching lines or oil-soaked threads never do justice to any garment and are always a vexation. I love that word, vexation. Okay, I have had a lot of bizarre results because of a lack of planning, a lack of understanding of what I'm doing, a lack of time to actually do what I'm doing. So I really have found that I may not have agreed with that personally when I was younger, but after the last 8 months of sewing that I have done, of exceptionally large amounts of sewing that I've done, yes, setting aside a nice block of time when I'm not stressed out, where I can really focus on what I'm doing, choosing a pattern, really looking at the pattern before I actively do anything with it, making sure that the material makes sense, doing a test seam to make sure that the material, the needle, and the machine are set up to actually agree with each other. This makes sense. Yes. Number 6, a need, an aim, and achievement should light the way throughout the making of a dress, so that from the first cut of the scissors to the very last stitch, all is in accord, each line having a purpose, each bit of trimming belonging where it is put, and harmony resulting throughout. That is absolutely delightful. This is a delightful approach to sewing in which there is art and drama and control of what it is that you're doing, of how it is, your vision coming to light. I love this. That's where I'm going to stop today. I'm doing this in bite-sized pieces, And the takeaway for today is have a plan and respect your materials and yourself and your plan and your vision enough to give yourself the space and emotional ability to give everything the time to create what you want. Okay, everyone, happy sewing. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.